Hey, what's up, guys? Hope you're doing amazing. So, welcome back. Welcome back. Today it's day 13. Um, today's day 13, 13, 13. Yep. So, very happy for this. I haven't been streaming the last few days because, well, I've had a little situation with someone that, yes, has made me more motivated to push even harder than I was pushing before. And now we have a new goal. Keep doing this until it works. That's the same goal. But it's bigger now because we have to get to the United States in 3 months. So we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. Yes. I don't know how. I don't know how. But we're gonna get it. So yeah, basically this past few days I haven't done much because it was weekend, and also because I had my first marathon. So yeah, that actually makes me very happy. I ran my first ever marathon. Look at this. Oh, let's go. So yeah, very happy for that. Um, I think I met the love of my life a few days ago, and now I'm dating her. So that's like the best thing that could have happened. This, bro, this entire lifetime. What the hell? I was gonna say like this year, but no, bro, this entire lifetime. Like actually. So I'm so happy for that. Like infinitely happy for that. And what else? Uh, yeah. So basically, I've been a little bit messed up with the times and everything, but now we're back for today. Tomorrow I'll be out too. So yeah, but yeah, this week we have to literally just step it up because we need to start making money, bro, because now I have a family to maintain. No, just kidding. Not yet though. Not yet. Soon. Soon. Yeah. So we have to make some cash. So I'm gonna do a to-do list for today. We have some things to do. Day 13 to do list. To do. So we have to do today watch video. Today we have to watch this one here, identity ignition. Then we have to do a plan for Krisha, who is going to be my first client. Yeah, she hasn't paid me. She won't pay me with money. She will pay me with training. So that's good stuff. And then, bro, we have to do outreach. Yeah. So for this week, we have a lot of interviews, which is amazing. That makes me incredibly happy. So yeah, we have different. We have a lot of interviews. We have like already 3 or 4 scheduled, which it's amazing. But yeah, for now, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to eat and I'm going to watch that video that I told you to see what is it about. So let's get it. I'm gonna mute myself to it.
Hey everyone, Charlie Morgan here, and welcome to Identity Ignition. So, at this point in the mindset training, you understand how belief systems work, you understand how paradigms work, you understand how the concept of reality works. And what we're going to be doing in this video is exploring your place in all of this. We need to discuss identity and self image. This is something that no one understands, no one knows how it works or how it functions, and it really is the critical key to changing your reality and manifesting a future that is brighter and far more positive than the one that you have right now. What we talked about at the end of the last video, if you remember, in Subjugating Reality, was factual alignment. But we also then went to talk about the idea of self-image and judgment-based alignment as well, which is where your belief systems about how the world works and your place in it, they need to line up with a certain set of belief systems that would give assent to your goal. So remember, when you set a goal, you're basically telling the universe, I want this, and there are conditional beliefs that if you believe and truly hold as true in your heart of hearts, will make it way easier and drastically improve your chances of actually achieving the goal. And so what we're going to be doing in this video is exploring the self and this idea of the identity, and really answering the age-old question of, who am I? Like, who are you? Like, what actually are you? And how does this thing work? So let's get into it. So we're going to get into a brief summary of Subjugating Reality. We're going to talk about what your percentage chances of success actually are. Like, what is the chance of you succeeding? And is there any point in trying? Exposing the enemy, victimhood, comfortable delusion versus uncomfortable truth. Who are you? So we're actually going to answer the question like, who are you? And you might have a response like, oh, I am, insert your name here. But that's not who you are. Trust me, we're going to get into this. Self-solidification, the conflict of growth, and the becoming self as well. Okay? So let's get into it. So welcome to Identity Ignition. Here we will dive into identity and what it means to have an idea of the self. We'll talk about what is to blame for your lack of success and suffering in life, and build on ideas around belief alignment and paradigm shifts in earlier videos. I'm well aware that you've been through 6-7 hours of mindset training, and we've been very abstract. I'm perfectly aware that it's quite hard to wrap your head around all this stuff, but I promise you, just cling on, because as we continue through this mindset video, things will become more concrete. And what I've been doing for the last 2-3 videos, including this video, is laying the foundations of your understanding of how mindset works. So when we actually come to put it into practice, and when I start doctrine or an idea, that is still very much something you've come into contact with and can completely shape your paradigm and inform your belief systems. Your imaginary experiences are a product of the synthesis of physical ones. So you can't really imagine something and have an imaginary experience without synthesizing things that you've experienced firsthand in your physical senses. And if you recall from the last video, the example I used was having a dream. This is a, imaginary experience, a dream about a flying elephant made of lava. That's not something you can experience in your physical reality. But if you take those three ideas of, if you've experienced lava before on the TV or something, and you've experienced an elephant before on a safari or on TikTok, and you've experienced flying, whether being in a plane or something, then it's possible for you to synthesize these things into something greater than the whole. And experiences form beliefs, and obviously by this point we know that beliefs form your subjective reality. And these are the diagrams that I use to sort of solidify that. And you can see how, you take some physical experiences or potentially digital experiences on a screen and, put them together. And before you know it, you've got an imaginary experience, okay? And that ultimately informs your world. And your physical and digital experiences, the things that you come into contact with in your physical environment, if you've been shouted at, for example, then that can absolutely, inform your beliefs, and they heavily do. But what can happen is you can replay that in your mind over and over again and imagine it, and that's an imaginary experience that continuously replays and will continue to solidify the belief. Beliefs can be visualized as a scale of true or false. Beliefs are rarely binary, and they have strength or weakness. So, the strength of a belief or the weakness of a belief is determined and dictated by how easy it is to change or break. So like I said in the earlier video, if you asked the Pope, the Christian, the Catholic Pope, if God was real, then that's a very strong belief, because he's going to say absolutely yes. And that's a belief that you probably couldn't break. It's that strong. But on the flip side, if I asked you, do you like the color purple? You might be like, it's all right. Yeah. Like, I could easily change your mind, right? And so your beliefs, they really sit on a scale of strength and weakness. And confirming experiences make beliefs stronger, and denying experiences make beliefs weaker. So when you have an experience, at least an experience that surrounds or informs an existing belief system, the experience is polarizing insofar as that it either confirms or denies what you already believe to be true. And when it confirms a belief, it denies the opposite of the belief. And beliefs work on this beautiful idea, this parallel scale, where if you believe something to be true, then you immediately believe the other thing to not be true. In other words, you believe the opposite to be false, if that makes sense. So if I said, I love fries, and that's true, then I would also say I don't hate fries, okay? And, my point is that every belief has an opposite. And when you load the scale on one side, you immediately load the scale on the other as well, in the exact opposite way. Now, after an initial experience, every experience either confirms or denies the beliefs. And experiences are like rocks that we stack on scales, and every time we have an experience, we're effectively stacking a rock on the true or the false side of the belief system. Some experiences are stronger than others. So some things that, the trick here is experiences that carry strong emotional weight. They are the experiences that have this massive impact on our belief systems. So, if I had an experience, let's say I had a religious experience of God or something like that, and with that came a huge emotional release, then that's a big ass rock. That's a big rock, bigger rock than compared to just maybe going to church on Sunday or going to the mosque on Friday or whatever, right? So, it's entirely possible to have an experience and for that experience to be big. For example, let's say that, your whole life you've been slightly afraid of clowns, and you don't know why, but you just are, and you've told yourself you are, and this is just solidified. And then one day a clown comes along, and the clown is, you're terrified of this thing, but then it takes its mask off, and it's the nicest person in the world, and then they give you $1 million, and you fall in love with them. That's a very strong emotional experience, and it's going to deny that clowns are scary, and so the scale might tip, right? All beliefs exist parallel to their opposite, and all beliefs are paired accordingly. So there's this idea in quantum physics called quantum entanglement, which states that basically every single particle in the existing universe has an opposite and an equal and an opposite. And it's basically the same thing is true. It's called like, we could say like there's a quantum entanglement of your belief systems. If you want to get scientific with it and practical, not that you need any more complicated abstract terms than I've already given you, but you get my point. So for example, if you believe right now, like that money is really hard to make, so the component of reality is money, and the statement is money is really hard to make, you might believe right now that that's true. And the reason that that's true and not false is because you've stacked more experiences to confirm this belief than you have denying experiences. So maybe you've grown up broke, maybe your parents have had a really hard time, maybe you've tried to start businesses, and this is really where people fall short, because if you're coming into this program and you fundamentally believe that money is really hard to make and that making money online is impossible, then everything you do is you're going to basically exercise this belief and try and counteract it, which is not very productive at all. So, we don't want to be doing this, which is why I'm making this mindset training. But if you believe that money is really hard to make, then you will not believe that money is really easy to make. And so anytime you take a belief stance on something, you either believe it's true or false. So if I said to you, is money really easy to make? You'd say no. And that's because you've stacked the scale, it's equal opposite, if that makes sense. So beliefs feed back on themselves by creating confirming experiences. This is called a positive feedback loop, also known as amplification, where you have an initial experience, which forms a belief. And that belief forces you to take actions that create new experiences that reconfirm the belief, and around and around and around and around. And so people form very strong belief systems in their life about all sorts of things. And their entire life, they seek to confirm that those things are true by trying to find more experiences that confirm them. And if you don't believe me, then we'll just go and do analysis on any belief system you hold. You've probably reconfirmed it over and over again. And beliefs have a lot of utility to the brain because they provide efficiency. So the brain craves efficiency. And what beliefs basically do is they're this sort of like really neat, tidy, organized. They're like imagine like all of your experiences are like pieces of paper. And beliefs are like these little shelves that you can put the paper into, these little trays. What beliefs do is they act as experience bundles where they stop us from having to remember everything. So imagine you've got 1,000 pieces of paper on food and what sort of food you like and what food makes you feel good and what food makes you feel bad and what you like and what you don't like and how your tastes have changed. You've got 1,000 pieces of paper that you could read through. What you could do instead is take those thousands of pieces of paper, open the tray in your mind called food and put them in and close the tray. And then you have this single belief system about what sorts of food you like, right? That's a bit of a stretch of an example, but you get my point. We bundle experiences into beliefs because basically they're way more efficient. Otherwise you have to remember all your experiences, which is impossible because there's only so much brain power you've got, right? Everyone has firm beliefs, but no idea why they exist or where they came from. And this is because they just forgot, Like as soon as you have your experiences and they get bundled into your beliefs, you forget your experiences and your beliefs effectively replace these experiences, which means you forget why you have these beliefs. And then people get all confused about their life and why they are the way they are and why they are who they are. And then they get all stressed and anxious and depressed and they feel like life's out of their control. And it simply is purely because they forgot where the hell this belief thing came from. And beliefs are how we map reality, okay? So you can really imagine that life is a big journey from A to Z, right? From where you are now to your goal. And right now, we use beliefs to inform our decisions on what actions and turns to take. Every action or decision that you make in your life comes from your belief systems. So rooted in your paradigm. And right now, you're alive, right? Which means that your beliefs give you survival. And this is true because you're here right now and you're alive. And all the brain really cares about at a base level is your survival and your ability to live long enough to reproduce. So you act out your beliefs accordingly. Like your brain hasn't really got any incentive for you to change your belief systems, at least not at a neurochemical instinct level. It doesn't care. It doesn't care that your brain doesn't necessarily care that you're poor. Your chemistry doesn't give a shit that you're lonely or anything like that. All it cares about is that you're alive. And so your brain doesn't like to, change belief systems or fuck around with them too much because of the fear of what happens if you do. Now, obviously this is completely irrational, but you've got to realize something about the brain is it's kind of prehistoric. I'm not trying to insult you with that idea, but your brain's pretty old. the circuits and the way that your brain works is rooted in, long, hundreds of thousands, millions of years ago of conditioning to help us survive on African plains and not die to snakes at night. So when you try and apply this little thing, this brain you've got to the modern day world, you make mistakes and you become irrational, and that's what irrationality is. But my point here is that, your brain loves efficiency. That's why we have beliefs. And your paradigm can effectively be mapped and look something like this. So you can actually, what you could actually do this, is you could verbalize and articulate every single belief statement you have. Be a bit stupid because you probably, a lot of them you're unconscious of, right? But you could articulate every single belief statement you have and map it. And, your beliefs would fall into one of three categories, being knowledge, self-image, or judgment. And you could really just see your entire paradigm. And what you could do is you could arbitrarily create scales to determine how true or false you thought your beliefs were. I'm not saying you should do this because, doing that for all your beliefs would be insane because you've got millions of them. Maybe not millions. Maybe you do. I don't know. But you get my point. But that's that. Now, your paradigm exists on many levels. So we have a macro paradigm and a micro paradigm. And when we think about our paradigm and the way that we see the world, we can break it down into many levels. And your paradigm will have thousands, maybe tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of micro components to it that, if we add them together, make this macro whole that we know as a paradigm. And certain components of reality have more beliefs and take up more space. This is really interesting because, you probably have a component of reality that means a lot to you, right? So let's just say, for example, that you grew up as a chess prodigy, right? And when you were younger, you were really good at chess, and chess has been your hobby for 20 years. What that means is you're going to have a large aggregate of belief systems about chess, and that's going to be a big bias for you coming into this world. You're going to be more strategic. You're going to think about second-order consequences. You're going to think about sacrifice differently. You'll see the world through this lens of chess because you have such a massive, block of beliefs about it. And these components of reality dominate the paradigm of the individual. This all depends on what experiences you've had, what you've studied, who you've talked to, who you're friends with, where you were brought up, when you were brought up, what your culture is, what your language is. But there are biases. And some beliefs are right and some beliefs are wrong. So this is huge because we've talked about belief systems and everything. And the question that you're probably asking is how the hell do I know what's right and how the hell do I know what's wrong? And what should I believe? And you really don't have to look much further than the idea of alignment. So this is whether or not a belief is aligned with the truth or your goal. So when it comes to alignment, we've got factual alignment, which is is what you believe to be true aligned with the indisputable truth. So, for example, if I said right now, Donald Trump is the current president of the United States.
guys, let's get it. Do I have sound connect here? Oh, come on. Bro, that's fucked up. How do I. Nice. Nice, bro. Thank you so much, Google, bro. Man, me salvó la vida. I was mad, bro. I was mad about that. So I wanna do something before I do this. Drive first and docs. Yes. So drive. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Okay. So wait a second.
myself, I can't walk you through a Stripe setup because it's going to require, again, for me to give my address. And it's like I have to give legitimate information to set it up, so I can't go through the instructions that here. Put in your name after a fruit, sorry, not 20, 10 minutes, and I want you to come up with a name for your company. And basically what you want to do is come up with a name, and you want to go here to namecheap.com to see if that company can be named accordingly, okay? So for example, if I wanted to call my company Imperium, and just Imperium, then I could go imperium.com and search, and if the domain is not available, which it's not, it's taken, then I'm not going to choose that name, because we kind of just want to have a .com domain. But if I wanted to go with, like, let's say I wanted to call my company blah blah consulting.com, then that's probably going to be available, okay? And so that would be a name that you could use. Now, I'm not actually going to say that you use blah blah consulting.com, but you got my point. So basically, it's really this simple. The biggest companies in the world didn't care about the name. So Apple is named after a fruit, Amazon is named after a rainforest, and Google is named after something that a little baby would say. Like Google is like goo goo gaga shit, right? So our company name Imperium was a random idea my business partner's mother had.
espalda en la pared. Packing. Borderline. One, two, 1, 2. Yo quiero una baby boo, ECU. El estilo es funky ahí. ¿Qué va?
Tommy, ¿qué toque? Amigo,
No.
ay, ¿cómo has estado?
Yo por ahí,
Ganas.
Todo bien por dicho. Vieras que, o sea, sí, obviamente cansado, pero bien, bien. La espalda, un toquecillo cargada, pero es lo normal. Pero realmente estoy bien. O sea, he estado peor, digamos.
Ajá. Hijo, oye, qué dicha. Ahí Carmen me preguntó, ¿qué? ¿Cómo le fue? Ni nos vimos. Entonces yo le dije, mira, para mí muy bien porque pues, entrené muy poco. Y me dice, yo igual, yo ni entrené. Carmen hizo 2:04, yo hice 2:06. Yo la vi corriendo y haciendo más que yo. Pero, digo, no, Dani, súper bien, 3 y pico, no creo que 3:43 o 46.
3:43. El reloj me sale 3:48, pero el gun time sale
3:43, y digo, no, hombre, Dani, pues no entrenó, pero no hizo los fondos madre. No, no, yo súper bien, súper campeón. Dani García también me decía, digo, o sea que ya entrenando, pues, y Denis me decía, ¿ahora qué? No, hombre, Cartago me puta 3:30, bueno, de 3:30, no que se van plano y bajando. Qué bueno, no sé qué, no sé qué. Pero
¿cuándo es Cartago?
usualmente como en marzo, finales de marzo, principios de abril. Porque se hace un medio fondo en enero, otro en febrero y la carrera en marzo. O sea, uno hace 21 en enero, 21 en febrero y marzo para el reconocimiento de la beca. Pero el segundo fondo, hay que ver, a veces no se hace como uno no va a fondear hasta oro, sí, sino que fondea ahí, pero hace uno 21, 21 y coincide con fondos grandes. Ah, que la cámara está cero. Sí, pero bueno, nos vamos viendo. Voy a ver San Silvestre, a ver cómo está en venta. Cosa deliciosa. Pero bueno, qué dicha, amor. ¿Tienes clase ahora, verdad?
Sí, virtual.
A las 6.
6:30. Vamos a ver cómo nos va. Lleve séptimo abajo, porfa.
Yo no tengo ensayo, yo me quedo aquí a descansar porque sí. Vamos. Tomaste cafecito ya, no tomas.
Sí, tomé.
A ver. Vamos, va.
Gracias. In the city all the night. Pam, pam. Con la Yomiko.
and an address of an expensive location in a major capital city in a major country. Now, I'm not going to encourage you to lie about where you live, or lie to clients about having offices when you don't. Obviously, I live in London, so you can decide to do this or not. The phone number doesn't have to be real. No one's going to call it. It just makes you look more professional, and it makes you look like you're actually a real person. And also, the address doesn't have to be accurate. But again, I'm not encouraging you to lie. However, if you put a expensive location of a major capital city in a major country, then you do seem more trustworthy. But that's not me telling you to lie. That's just me telling you that it's an option. Okay. This is about looking and appearing professional in your email exchanges. So, for example, when I had my first business, technically, my business partner was in Amsterdam and I was on the outskirts of London. So we just said we have offices in Amsterdam and London. Clients don't need to know that our offices were our bedrooms, but you get my point, right? You can pick and choose to do this if you want. So then you add a profile picture to your Google Workspace account. Should be simple, semi-professional headshot or selfie will do. Nothing edgy, nothing Instagrammable. I don't want to see anyone mogging their clients. Just your face in good lighting, okay? Simple, done. And that's all that. So next up is the legal document templates. So you're going to need a privacy policy and some T&Cs for your website, and if clients ever ask for them. So you can use this template to create your privacy policy, and here's a template that you can copy and paste into a document for the terms and conditions over on our website for Imperium Acquisition. So you can see this thing here, pretty long, pretty extensive. You should probably read through it and check it all out, to be honest. Same thing with the T's and C's as well. You can read them and check them out. Go to File, make a copy for the privacy policy, and you can add this to a doc. Quick disclaimer, these are our privacy policy and
I gotta elevate. I gotta elevate. I gotta elevate.
and terms and conditions documents. This is not legal.
process still. February. Oh mama, taking me out of the ordinary. From a Zanberry. Of the ordinary. Ba-da-ba-bum-bum.
That's true. Legal advice. I'm not advising you to blindly copy and paste. They may not legally be applicable to your company, jurisdiction, or country, so please consult a proper lawyer before blindly copying my templates. These are templates for inspiration purposes, and I'm not advising you to directly copy them. You'll need funnels. You'll need for funnels and pages down the line. Okay, so you can just check them out now, make a copy, edit them in any way that you see fit, and consult a lawyer if you feel that is necessary and or appropriate. There is my legal disclaimer out of the way. So company logo, we're blasting through these, but it is simple. Make an account for canva.com, head over to Canva templates, like so, set a 5-minute timer, pick your favorite template in these 5 minutes. Set another 5-minute timer, edit your logo in these 5 minutes, and then save the file in your Google Drive. Do not spend too long on this. I do not want to see anyone spending more than 10 minutes on a bloody logo. So you come to templates, you go to logo, and then you give yourself 5 minutes to scroll down and find the one that you like the most. So let's have a little scroll here, and you're like, oh, and you'll see some of them are premium. You don't need to do that. You don't need the premium ones. You can just use the free one. So let's have a little scroll here, and you're like, oh, I don't know which one I like, don't know which one I like, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that'll do. Okay, customize the template. And then literally all you're gonna do is, let's say my company is called Imperium Acquisition. Let's say that my company is called, I don't know, X marks the spot consulting, right? And I'm going to come here, marks the spot. Let's just call it X marks. Let's say that's all. There you go, done. Now it might look kind of shit, but honestly, like, that's fine. You do not like. That's just an example, right? I literally did that in all of 20 seconds. But the point I'm making here is, all you then do is you go to share, download, and then you download it, and then you've got your file, and that's your logo done. It does not, like, literally my logo. I mean, you guys have seen my logo. It's literally, it's everywhere, right? It's literally just an I and an A in a box. It took me, and I'm not even joking, I pride myself on this, it took me 3 minutes to make that thing, and that was 3 minutes too long. So do not spend long on this. I don't care about your creative proclivities. If you want to spend 3 hours on making it all pretty with the perfect pastel pink, do not do that. Simple, black and white, get it done, okay? Next is website setup. So what I've actually done is I've recorded a, this resource isn't completed yet, which is why it's going to be separate. But what I wanted to do was walk you through a full sort of step-by-step instruction template on how to actually build a website. And I'm going to give you a very specific template that we would recommend that you use in a very specific software that you can later use for other funnels and other softwares and other connections. So instead of rushing through it in this sort of quick, snappy thing, what I want you to do now is click this document here. And it doesn't look completed yet, but true. But if I
Buenas noches, Daniel. Buenas tardes allá. Nada, respondiendo a tu mensaje en School, que prefiero responderlo en una nota de voz que por escrito, para que suene más personal. No, la llamada no es para ejercicios, ni la llamada es para lo de la comunidad. La llamada más bien para ofrecer un espacio de escucha o así, ¿no? Tal vez profundizar o dialogar un poco más sobre ti, ¿no? Qué sé yo, darte un espacio para eso, porque noto que necesitas expresar, decir, entonces como que no sé qué tan efectivo sea un video ahí al aire y que la gente te dé un pequeño post. Eh, no más, ¿no? También porque me llama la atención que es la segunda vez que recapitulas todo y expresas lo mismo, estás súper ocupado, estás metido en 40.000 cosas, quieres ayudar a todo el mundo, pero bueno, yo me pregunto, bueno, ¿quién te ayuda a ti o qué espacio dejas para ti? Entonces, ahora mismo, por ejemplo, estás sumamente ocupado. ¿Sacarías tiempo? Sí es para ayudarme, pero tal vez sería bueno que sacaras tiempo para, tal vez, un espacio para ti, simplemente conversar, decir cosas, ¿no? Entonces era para eso, o sea, simplemente brindarte ese espacio, realmente tal vez tanta ocupación te va a volver a dar otra crisis si no sacas un poco de tiempo para ti, si no haces un stop, no cuando ya no haya más, sino como más bien regular, ¿no? Semanal, que se yo, hacer stops, hacer, ¿no? Más allá de los compromisos, ¿no? Porque estás metido en demasiadas cosas, quieres demasiadas cosas al mismo tiempo, y eso te desgasta, ¿no? Entonces, te das, y pues no recibes, o no te abres a recibir, o no te permite, ¿no? El contacto no necesitas para dar, necesitas recibir, si no recibes, pues te ahogas. Simplemente era para eso, nada más.
if I said Hillary Clinton is the current president of the United States, then that's false. And I could potentially be misinformed. I don't know how, but I could be misinformed, and I would not have factual alignment with that belief system. Okay. By the same notion, if I said the Eiffel Tower is the tallest building in the world, it's like, well, it's not. But if I didn't know that the Burj Khalifa existed or that any other tower existed, then maybe I'm wrong. And then the other thing, and this is the main thing, this is really what we're going to talk about today, is goal alignment. And this is where what you believe in is in alignment with what you want to achieve. And this comes down to a couple of things, right? So we've got the alignment of your subjective knowledge and objective knowledge, which is this factual alignment, which is pretty easy to grasp. But the really important one is the idea of aligning your self-image and judgment-based beliefs. And this is where you have your goal, and your goal sets conditional beliefs, which means if you believe them, you will act them out, and the action of those beliefs will help you achieve your goal. Primary example, your goal might be that you want to be a millionaire. And I can tell you, as someone who is a millionaire, that one thing that you'll want to believe to become a millionaire is that it's actually possible, and that money is easy to make, and money is abundant, and people are willing to pay high ticket prices. There's lots of beliefs that you need to adopt, because if you don't adopt them, you won't act them out. And so, for example, let's take your belief about money right now. Maybe right now you believe that making money online is hard, and making money online is only for certain people, and it's impossible to make money online if you are this thing or that problem, right? If you believe those things, you're gonna act them out. It's called praxis. It's impossible to not give assent to belief through action. And so there are a set of conditional beliefs that you can adopt and mold yourself into, and basically start creating experiences around. And if you do that, you'll start changing. So if you believe that money is easy to make, and that it's possible to make money online, and that anyone can do it, then you'll start actually trying. And then guess what will happen? Shit, you're going to start making some money, and then you're going to confirm this experience. And then before you know it, you're 7 years down the path, and you're making $1 million a month, and you're nearly at multi-8 figures like me. That's all this is. It was just a couple of belief systems that are just get in my brain, just switch them around, and then bang. You apply 10 years of compounding to that, and then suddenly you sat on multi-8 figures in your bank account, and you're like, how the hell did this happen? It works. It really does. Okay, that's the summary. Let's talk about your percentage chances of being successful. Because right now you might be asking yourself, how does any of this make sense? Or how do I believe in something that isn't true right now in the hopes it becomes true later? Because this is really hard to wrap your head around, because it's all good and well me saying, yeah, just believe it, bro, and it will happen. But you're like, well, how the fuck do I do that? What if I am who I am right now, and my world is what it is right now? How am I supposed to convince myself and my brain otherwise? Like, if I believe making money is hard, and all I've ever known is making money is hard, how on earth do I convince myself the opposite? That's a very good question to ask, right? The idea of alignment gets confusing, because what your factual reality is right now, your subjective experience, is very unlikely, it almost definitely isn't, aligned with your goal reality. So how do you change your beliefs to suit your goal when your experience, how do you possibly change your beliefs to suit your goal when your experiences just keep confirming what is already true? Well, after this video and the next one, it will all make sense, I promise. This is what we're trying to answer here. We're just getting into this belief thing. You need to change your belief systems. How the hell are we going to do it? Let's get into it. So, let me ask you a question for a second. What do you think the percentage chances of you becoming successful actually are? And I want you to be realistic here. I want you to be honest with yourself. Like, just write it down for me. You should have a pen and paper, or some way to take a note. Write it down right now. Or make a mental note in your head. What do you think the percentage chances of you being successful are? Do you think it's like 100% guaranteed? Do you think it's 50-50? Do you think it's like 10% chance? Like, what do you think the chances are? Well, I'm sorry to tell you this, and you should have this written down now, but the answer is actually 0. You have no chance of being successful. None. Nada. I'm sorry. I know you've come this far in the training. You, in your current state, have absolutely no chance of becoming successful ever. Because if you did, you would have already done it. Or you'd be well on your way to success. But it's okay. Don't worry. I'm not going to cause you any panic here, because I'm going to show you who is to blame for this and what is to blame for this, which is basically the enemy responsible for your suffering. So you have no chance, but I'm going to explain why, and we can start building from that, right? So who's to blame? Because there is an enemy, and I promise you there is something that you can point at that is going to explain why you're not successful yet. And because this thing exists, there's no chance, right? So we need to understand this. So exposing the enemy. Why do you know what you need to do but just can't do it? Why do you set goals and dream up dreams only to give up or not bother? Why are you inconsistent, lazy, paralyzed by procrastination? And why are you so full of confidence and hope one day, but doubt and fear the next? And why does success seem so impossible to achieve to the point where there's no point in trying? Why does this thing seem so far off? Why can't you just start making progress towards a goal, and then when you do start making progress, you just sabotage yourself? Why can't you stick to new habits and get rid of old bad ones that you know you shouldn't have? Why does it feel like there's a dark force holding you back, forcing you to fight an uphill battle? Why does it have to feel so hard? Why do others make so much progress and you get left in the mud? You see the videos of teenagers and people in their early 20s buying Lamborghinis and watches, and you know, why is it so easy for other people but just not for you? Like, why? Does it ever feel like something is just holding you back? Probably. Everyone has a reason as to why they're not successful yet. Pause this video right now and ask yourself, what's yours? What's holding you back? Who's holding you back? How is the world against you? Because it is. And I'll explain why in a second. Have you ever wondered why you're not where you want to be and why success feels like too much of a struggle? Have you ever asked yourself why it's so hard and why it feels like the universe conspires against you to keep you broke and miserable? Well, there's a reason for this. And yes, this reason exists. It's malevolent, it's a dark force and an enemy that is to blame for all the issues you have in your life. It exists and no one knows what it is. And it took me years to figure this out for myself, but once I found it, I could actually face it and overcome it, and I did, and obviously my entire life changed. Now, the thing is that your lack of progress, any sadness you feel, any anxiety you have, any negative emotion you feel is all down to this dark force, this enemy. This force plagues the entirety of humanity, and everyone who isn't happy or lacking in their life is infected by it. And this was my life for years. I would start things, I'd quit and leave them half finished. I'd have confidence one day and fear and doubt the next. I'd want to be successful, but then I couldn't even get out of bed on some days. Everything I tried failed. Nothing stuck, clicked, or worked for me. I'd say I want to be successful, but really I never properly put the work in. I'd sabotage my efforts. I often knew what I needed to do, but just couldn't bring myself to do it. You know, I was trying to quit video games for like a year. I was like, why can't I just do this? I'd sedate myself with junk food and video games to avoid the work. I was effectively at war with myself. I lived paralyzed, unable to act, dreaming of what I could be. To change and become successful, I had to confront this dark force, battle it, and win a war. So I've got an action item for you, and I want you to do this right now. Don't put it off. Don't be an idiot. Don't be a dick. Write down the top 10 reasons as to why you're not successful, because then we can see if they're in alignment with the true enemy in the dark force. Do it now. So I've got this document for you here. You can make a copy by going to File and Make a Copy, or you can write these reasons down on the paper in front of you. I want you to find everything you can blame and write it down, because we're going to reveal this enemy. I'm going to show you why you're not successful and really like what is to blame, who is to blame here. So I want you to write down, think as hard as you can on why you're not successful. Fill all 10 as best you can. Maybe there's only one or two, but there should be some answers in your mind right now. And this should be really obvious to you. Just the everyday things you know you blame as to why you're not there yet. You have reasons, you have copes, you have excuses. Don't pretend you don't. Of course you do. You've told yourself this hundreds of times over, I'm not where I want to be because of this person or that or this. There's another way to think. Why are you stuck where you are? So if you can't think of reasons, why are you stuck where you are? And why can't you seem to make any progress? And what's holding you back? Like some examples, you know, this is what I used to say. I'm not motivated. I'm not a motivated person. I don't have a work ethic. You know, if I don't enjoy something, I can't do it. You know, my dopamine system is fucked. Like any excuse you have, any reason, toxic relationship, parental pressure to get a job, wrong friends, too shy, school system, disability, that weird pain in your wrist you get when you write, which is why you can't use a laptop, anything, your internet connection, I don't care what it is, I want to know the reasons, and I want you to write them down right now. There might be more than 10, write them all down and list them out. Pause the video, do it now. So, you should have done it. So let's actually video, do it now. So
y fue increíble. Y hoy quiero hacer este video, más que para contar la experiencia de la maratón como tal, la verdad es para que me quede a mí grabado este video y para el futuro. Entonces también lo voy a hacer como un video diario de las cosas que me han estado pasando en la vida, porque la verdad es que en esta última semana sobre todo, la vida me ha cambiado de una forma totalmente increíble.
So you should have done it. So let's actually explore this enemy and what it is. And I've got some slides for you here to show you exactly what you're up against. So there is a dark force, a savage character in your life. It's the thing to blame for your lack of progress and any miserable situation in your life. All of your problems, all your suffering, all the reason you can't do what you want to do, all these excuses, since the dawn of civilization, people have looked for this thing, trying to pin it down and defeat it. Is it, people ask, is it the government? Is it the politicians? Is it the secret group of people? Is it the government that's trying to, out to get us with the taxes and the food pyramid and the conspiracies and, all these things? Is it the Matrix? Is it a round table of suited dark figures who control the world? Is it the big corporations feeding on our desires and impulses? Is it, McDonald's is why we're fat? Is it OnlyFans as to why we're porn addicted? Is the school system the problem? Is it the education system? Is it the way that the Secretary of Education is building the education system that we're not being educated properly? Is it society? Is it just the way that our culture's built? Is it our parents? Or it's none of these. It's much worse and much more powerful, and you probably have never even thought about it before. I went far and wide looking for this thing. I was convinced there was some conspiracy. I set out for months, years, searching for an answer to try and figure out why I couldn't do the work and who was to blame. I asked myself this, I said, why do I suffer like this? Why do I break down what I built? Why must I be stuck in this doom cycle of trying and failing? Well, I hope you're ready to find out who it is and what is to blame. It's you. That's right, it's you. It's all you. It always has been and it always will be. You are totally to blame. It's all your fault. You are the enemy. And I know that this is a bit of a twist and a bit of a switch, but it is you. You are to blame for all your suffering. It's your fault. It's not your anything. It's not your government. It's not your parents. It's not your IQ. It's not your social circle. It's not your politicians. It's not your disability. It's not your introversion. It's not your work ethic. It's not your community. It's not your country. It's not your class. It's not your internet connection. It's not your boss, your accent, your niche, your peers, your personality, your upbringing, your sleep, your tech skills, your childhood, your market, your niche, your appearance, your office space. It's not your environment. It's not your schooling. It's not your anxiety. It's not your depression. It's not your addictions. It's not your fears. It's not your pains or aches. It's not your age. It's not your race. It's not your sales script. It's not your algorithms. It's not your social media feeds. It's not the news. It's not BlackRock. It's not Mark Zuckerberg. It's not aliens. It's not lizards. It's not McDonald's. It's not porn companies. It's not OnlyFans. It's not the Matrix. It's not your girlfriend or boyfriend. It's not your English skills. It's all you. Look at the reasons you've written down earlier. If these were truly the reasons as to why you weren't successful or had a bad life, then why doesn't everyone who has or experiences these fail like you? They don't. You are the problem, not the reason. So if you wrote down, I'm not successful because I'm lazy, or I'm not successful because I don't have the motivation, well, that would mean that anyone there's people who have achieved success who might not have the highest levels of motivation. You might have written down I'm not successful because my parents are forcing me to get a 9-to-5, so I can't start a business. It's like, well, do you mean to tell me that every single person on the planet who has strict parents who have forced them to get a job hasn't achieved business success? No, there's loads of people that have been able to do that. Loads of examples of people, especially in Eastern culture, where the parents force them to become a doctor or a lawyer, and then they leave and then they become successful. this is all just bullshit you've told yourself. It's just lies. It's really fucking easy to blame somebody or something. The problem is, and I promise I have your best intentions at heart here, as soon as you choose to do that and blame something, you lose forever. And this is what I was getting wrong. I would blame anything but myself as to why I was unsuccessful or where I didn't want to be. You must come to terms with the fact that where you are in life right now is because of nothing or nobody but you. You need to realize that the thing that you're blaming, these things here, these reasons that you've written down, like, you know, they are not the reason you're stuck. It's you. It's all you. The doubts, the fears, the dark force, the negative thoughts, the bad thoughts, the problems, they're all you. The truth is simple. All the things you blame are externals, and you give them power and you feel a victim towards them. You're playing the victim, blaming externals. You might right now feel uncomfortable. Maybe you feel angry. Maybe you're irritated or upset at me. Good. The first step to making any sort of progress is this pain and accepting the weight of the responsibility and accountability of your existence. You can't blame anything but yourself. As soon as you do, it's done. It's game over. You've lost. You've got to take the wheel, strap yourself in, and actually be in the driver's seat of your life. Until you admit and accept total and full responsibility for your life, you will never be able to accelerate and go where you want to go. Not taking responsibility for your life is like getting in a car and basically having no control over the steering wheel. You're going to end up somewhere random or you're going to crash. And people do this all the time. Like, people are unsuccessful, people are fat, people are out of shape, people are miserable, people are depressed, people are anxious, and they will blame anything but themselves. It's like, oh, I'm depressed because, you know, I have like a problem with my brain. It's like, that might be true, but for as long as you believe that, you're never going to make any effort to actually change or try and fix your life. Radical responsibility is the cornerstone of success. And until you're willing to point the finger at yourself and really just say it's all my fault, that's why I'm not successful, you're never truly going to be in control, because control is basically power. Like, if you believe that something is your fault, or you believe that, you know, it's your issue, and you effectively take full responsibility for your life, then once you do that, you can actually start making changes. But right now, if you believe that something else is to blame, then until that thing goes away or changes, which it likely never will, then you're never going to be successful. And you're always going to use it as an excuse as to why you're not there. So if you say right now that, you know, let's say you're addicted to pornography, and you say, oh, the reason I'm addicted to pornography is because of Twitter's algorithm, or because of, you know, MindGeek, which is the company that owns Pornhub, or the reason I'm addicted to porn is because, you know, it's OnlyFans, it's the OnlyFans girls, like, they're to blame. It's like, well, you're going to stay porn addicted forever for as long as you believe that those are the reasons you're not successful, the reasons you're addicted. Until you turn around and say, it's my fault, I control where my eyeballs go, I control what I say on the keyboard, and I control what my algorithms look like by what content I consume and engage with, then it's all your fault. Of course it's your fault. How could it possibly not be your fault? You lay these traps for yourself intentionally and then blame the traps. It's really silly. It's really stupid. You know, your fault. Understand, your life, whether you know it or not, was built to spec by you. You designed this life, my friend. You didn't mean to, and you might not be aware that you have, but every action you've taken, every decision you've made, every behavior you've acted out, every emotion you've succumbed to, all of this stacked up and bundled is your life. And notice how, like, who takes an action, who makes a decision, who engages in a behavior, and who gives into an emotion? You. It's you, mate. Like, there's no other way around this. Until now, you've been totally paralyzed, blaming external bodies or things for your lack of success. After all, what's the point in behaving in the right way and taking the right actions if you believe your suffering is not your fault? So this comes back to this example, let's say this person who's porn addicted. This person's not going to bother trying to give porn up because fundamentally they believe the reason they're addicted is because of these companies. And unless the companies fail, then they're going to be addicted. You know, in the same way that, you know, if you think that the reason that you're overweight is because of the government and, you know, the government's, you know, food advice, then until the government changes, or until the government changes their nutritional guidelines, you're going to be fat, and they're probably not going to change it. So you're going to be fat. But it's easier for you to say, it's probably my fault for my lack of critical thinking ability and my incapacity to handle my culinary impulses. That's probably why I'm fat. It's probably because I don't exercise because I can't be bothered, and it's probably also because I'm like not the smartest person when it comes to nutrition. You know, I'm just making it a point. Like, sure, some people might be overweight because of their genetics, but even if it was your genetics, you shouldn't believe it's your genetics, because you shouldn't give yourself any excuse or reason to hide behind doing the right thing and engaging in the right healthy behaviors. And you can use this example for porn, you can use it for people who are overweight, you can use it, for example, people who are poor. So right now you're probably broke, you're probably poor, and you know, you're probably like, oh, I'm broke because of the system or the matrix, or I'm broke because of the scammers, or you know, this, and it's the big banks, and it's BlackRock. No, mate, you're broke because you don't know anything, and you haven't educated yourself on money, and you don't know how to build a good product, and you don't have any skills that in any way, shape or form are conducive to you making money and achieving your results that you want. It's your fault. It's nothing. Nobody else's fault. It's your fault. Everything is your fault. And I'm preaching to the choir here. Like, you know, whenever I get stuck in business or in life, I'll always be like, oh, it's this person or it's this. Then I remember, I'm like, actually, you're just being an idiot. Accept the pain and, you know, take on the responsibility and crack on. It's very simple. And just think about it for a second. I mean, how can doing the right thing matter if your government's to blame? How can disciplining yourself to fix your shitty life, what's the point in doing that? Like, if it's your parents' fault? And how can taking action to fix your life work, you know, if your life sucks because of your mental health? Like, people use this, and this is not an easy thing to say, because people get very upset by this, but a lot of people, too many people, are using mental health as a shield to absolve themselves of the responsibility of partaking in behaviors that are healthy and that fix their lives. You know, I've been guilty of this before. When I was younger, like, I used to be like, oh, like, I'm really shy, or I've got anxiety. This was when I was a lot younger. I'd be like, I'm never going to make it because I'm anxious. It's like, well, what sort of attitude is that? Pull yourself together, man. Like, simple. People hide behind reasons and objects of blame and use them as shields to discharge themselves of the responsibility of their lives. Some examples in my life, because I've been guilty of this, right? I used to smoke. And the reason I used to smoke is I would blame my friends as being a bad influence. So, oh, you know, my friends are smoking, so of course I'm going to smoke because it's so tempting. Idiot. I used to play video games. I blame gaming companies for that. I used to doom scroll for hours. I blame the social media algorithms. I used to eat junk food. I blame the fast food corporations and Deliveroo. I used to, Deliveroo, this basically Deliveroo is like Uber Eats or like Just Eat, you know, food delivery company. The reason I'm eating all this crap is because it's so easy to get. I used to be skinny, I blame my genetics. I used to be broke, I blame the cost of living crisis and the big banks. I used to be dumb, I blame the school system. I used to get scammed, I blame the scammers. I used to get sick, I blame the doctors. I used to be in a bad mood, I blame the weather. If I was in a bad mood, I'd find any reason I could possibly find, except from the fact it's me. Like, oh, I'm in a really bad mood at the moment. It's like, well, maybe it's because you've been engaging in behaviors and giving into emotional impulses that are conducive to you feeling like crap. Maybe the reason you're depressed and anxious is because you don't have a healthy body, you don't have healthy social life, you don't have healthy relationships, you know, you're not making any money, you're dead broke, you're eating loads of bad food, you're smoking weed, you're drinking alcohol. Like, a lot of people aren't anxious and depressed, they just have shitty lives. And the reason they have shitty lives is because they've got shitty behaviors, and those behaviors are in their control. But the paradox is they believe their behavior is not in their control because of the thing it causes. It's so backwards. It's like, oh, I'm depressed and I can't do anything about it because my depression's so bad. It's like, well, I feel for you, and that might be the case, but has it ever occurred to you the reason you're depressed is because of your actions, and the reasons your actions exist is because you think you're depressed? It's like it's this nasty vicious cycle, and the way you snap out of this and the way that you fix this, in my experience with mental health as well, is by taking responsibility. Hard message to deliver, even harder message to receive, but it worked for me, and I haven't been anxious or depressed ever since I had this attitude, this shift, right? I used to be angry. I blame being bullied. I used to not get sales, business examples, it works on business as well. So I used to not close sales calls, and I blame the leads. But, oh, the leads, these prospects or the market, they haven't got any money. But instead of, what I should have done is blame my skill set. I used to not get YouTube views. I blame the algorithm instead of my skills. Couldn't be me, has to be the algorithm. You know, I see this people have YouTube channels like, oh, my videos aren't getting any views. I must be what's it called? Like, shadow banned. Like the algorithm must have blacklisted my channel. It must like not like what I'm saying. You know, it must be the market must not be smart enough to understand me. People say this shit. It's wild. It's their fault. They're not making good videos, right? I used to have poor performance in my team, and I blame the team instead of me. Like, you know, a team is only as strong as its leader. So if my team is misperforming, it's because I'm terrible at managing or I'm terrible at leading. It's my fault. I used to not get appointments. I'd say, oh, it's cold email. It's Google. It's the deliverability instead of my skills. I used to not grow, and I blame the niche instead of myself. Remember, anytime you blame anything that isn't yourself, you lose. You're fucked. Period. Forever. Understand that responsibility is how we effectively declare war on problems. And you can't win a war if you refuse to fight. The fastest track to success is a total, absolute sense of responsibility. It's the only true way to take control. And if something isn't going your way, blame yourself. It's empowering, and it's almost as if the universe gives you permission to change once you do. Unless you can really look in the mirror and say, it's my fault, I am to blame for this mess, you almost feel like you don't have permission to really change anything until that happens. And after you take responsibility for your life or a problem, you start looking at it differently, and suddenly you feel empowered to change and solve it. Once you actually accept that something is your fault and that the reason that you aren't where you want to be is because of you get this weird magical sort of lift where you're like, holy shit, I can actually do something about this. So there's an action item for you. And this is going to sound weird, and it's going to sound strange, and you're probably not going to want to do it. You're going to feel some resistance, but I want you to do this now, because this solidifies this point. I want you to go to find a mirror. I want you to look yourself in the eyes in the mirror, point at yourself in the mirror, and tell yourself it's all my fault. Admit that you are to blame for suffering and that nothing or no one else is. And when you do this, you should feel...
Guys, I have to end the stream here because I have to go to university class. Thank you so much for being here. See you on Wednesday because tomorrow won't be possible. Thank you so much for being here. I'll keep doing this exercise.